Hello, welcome to PCMag Live. I'm Dan Costa. He is Sasha Segan, and we've got a great show for you today. We're going to cover the top tech news of the day, show you one cool thing from the lab, and answer some of your reader questions. Sasha, let's start with the biggest news of the day. This broke late in the day last night. At the very end of the day, Lenovo is buying Motorola for $2.9 billion from Google. This is a bit of a surprise because Google just bought Motorola 2 years ago. And if you do the numbers, I mean, they paid $12.5 billion for Motorola 2 years ago. Now they're selling it for $2.9 billion. It seems like they didn't get a right price.
So now, my number one question, of course, is over the next couple of months, do we call this Moto Novo or Lenovorola?
Oh,
okay.
Both great names.
Yeah, both good ones. But
I gotta register those domains right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. .com, .net, .org. You ask it. Yeah, so they bought it for $12.5 billion, sold it for $2.9 billion. But you have to factor in the $3 billion in cash on hand and the fact that they sold off Motorola's home and cable box business. And in the end, it looks like Google ended up paying about $4 billion for this very solid library of patents that are absolutely essential to making any mobile phone that Google wants to defend the Android ecosystem, mostly against Apple.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, Lenovo, not very well known in the US as a cell phone maker because they don't sell phones here, but they're the #3 cell phone manufacturer in the world.
Sometimes they're #3, sometimes they're #4, sometimes they're #5, but in any case, Lenovo has had a huge smartphone business in China for quite some time. And over the past 2 years or so, they've been expanding to other countries, but they have not broken into the US. And they haven't been able to break into the US. They haven't been able to make the relationships with US carriers that you need to succeed here. And this is can be a very profitable market for a smartphone manufacturer. So buying Motorola is their door into the US market because Motorola has those relationships.
Yeah, I was actually very excited about Google buying Motorola. I thought Google was going to do great things with the company. We haven't seen them do really great things with the company, so now I'm excited about Lenovo taking over.
See, I think Google has done some great things. I think the Moto X and the Moto G are both spectacular phones. I think the Moto X was possibly the best phone of last year, that the Moto G really drove quality to a new price point, and I'm a little worried that if you look at Lenovo's product line of phones and tablets in other countries, they're generally really bland. And I'm worried that the kind of innovation that we saw with the Moto X and Moto G, that's over now, and that what we're going to see is a march of bland copycat Android phones.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think they know what they bought. I think they're buying it for a reason. I think that those successes are what help drive up the value of what is Motorola. Interesting to note, one last thing, that Motorola Lenovo is not taking the advanced research team that goes with Motorola, which is sort of a jewel for us geeks anyway.
And this made me worry as well because Motorola, or Google, is keeping Project Ara, which is Motorola's pie-in-the-sky modular smartphone concept. And that, once again, says to me, is Lenovo going to be doing anything truly innovative with Motorola, or are they just using it as a brand to sell some boring Android phones to enterprise
I think you're prejudging them. Give them a chance. Give them a chance. They just bought the company today. Also in the news, Facebook is launching an application called Paper, which is a Flipboard-like magazine interface. It's only available for iOS.
Yeah, I would have tried this application out, but I can't perceive it as it is not available for the vast majority of smartphones in the world.
It eventually will get ported to Android, and this is a part of Facebook really trying to move beyond just the social networking service. What a lot of people do on Facebook is use it as a news service, get their stories from it, and share stories with it. I think this is going to help that effort.
Well, yesterday in their earnings call, Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO of Facebook, said that they're going to try a new approach where instead of integrating a lot of features into one big Facebook app, they're going to do a lot of little single-serving apps of different Facebook features. And you kind of saw this a while ago with the Facebook Messenger app, which is just Messenger. So the question becomes, does atomizing Facebook's features over a whole bunch of apps, is that going to be more successful than the completely failed Facebook Home concept was on Android?
Well, it can't be less successful. We can say that right now. Also in the news, I thought this was very interesting as a Mint user. Mint is actually incorporating support for Coinbase, the Bitcoin-based wallet service, so that you can actually track your Bitcoin balance from your Mint dashboard. I don't actually have a Bitcoin to speak of a Bitcoin in any wallet.
All you have is Dogecoin, right?
All I have is Doge. I'm totally into Doge.
Yep.
But I think it's neat. I think it's a validation for Bitcoin. I think that it's actually a great validation for Coinbase because there's a lot of competition on all these Bitcoin wallets.
Yeah, one of the things that I thought was interesting, and sorry I'm negative on everything today, it's just a negative
today, though.
day.
Every other day you're very positive.
Yeah, absolutely. I love technology! But what I think is interesting is seeing the thread on Reddit about this. There are all of these little splinter groups that are very intense about their particular wallet and their particular Bitcoin exchange, and they're all sniping at the Coinbase people now. And Bitcoin is only going to be a widely accepted mainstream currency if all of these little rough edges get smoothed out. Like it has to have the same exchange rate everywhere for it to be a functioning currency.
This move actually kind of makes Coinbase this sort of establishment of all Bitcoin wallets, which may not be a good thing for the Bitcoin community. That may not turn them on. Let's move on to a reader question today. Today our question is from Diane, who sent us this question, and she said that she's been hearing a lot about both US cellular and consumer cellular. What's the difference between these two services?
Diane is not the first person who I've encountered who is confused about these two companies with very similar names, both of whom sell cell phones, but which are completely different companies that are not related to each other. Consumer Cellular has been advertising a lot on TV, especially late-night TV. They are a AT&T-based virtual carrier that sells prepaid phones mostly to older people. They work nationwide. They have low-cost prepaid plans that focus very much on voice and text and a lot of simple-to-use phones. US Cellular is a much older cell phone carrier that only works in about 20 states. They run their own towers. They're based in Chicago, and they really compete with Verizon and AT&T and Sprint and T-Mobile on their own basis. They are their own network. They're not piggybacking off somebody else's network.
They only work in 20 states, but if you leave those states, then you go into roaming mode.
Yeah, if you leave those states, you're basically on Sprint. US Cellular has gotten great ratings in our Reader's Choice Awards year after year for their spectacular customer service. They're known for terrific customer service, but not everyone in the country has access to them, so they only have 5 or 6 million customers. Consumer Cellular is growing, once more based on customer service for their mostly older population. So two very different companies, nothing to do with each other, but both intriguing wireless carriers you should take a look at.
Very cool. Now it's time for one cool thing. We test thousands of products here in the lab in New York City every year. Every day we take one thing off the shelf and show it to you live on camera. Today that thing is the Lenovo X240, which is a pretty fantastic laptop. We gave it 4 stars in our editor's choice. The thing to know about this laptop, it's selling now for $1,350. Its streets for $1,500 was the MSRP when it launched a couple of weeks ago. So it's a high-end laptop. It's a business laptop.
The thing to know about this laptop is it has 15 hours of battery life. And really, that's why you get it. It has 15 hours.
So 2 full days without a charge.
Yeah, or that nonstop flight from New York to Seoul.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, this is a great system. It's got a sturdy design. And think about Lenovo laptops. Super sturdy. We did put a Lenovo on because we had Lenovo themed show today. But it's got a super sturdy design. It's got an IPS screen, Core i5 Haswell CPU, so more than enough processing power to get through all of your work. Just a great, solid business system.
Yeah, this is one of the things that makes me a little hopeful about this Lenovo Motorola thing, because the Lenovo ThinkPads continue to be these relentlessly classy business laptops where they just get all maybe they're not flashy, but they get all the little things right, and they're a really satisfying work experience.
And great keyboards. Still a fantastic keyboard. If you like the ThinkPad keyboard from IBM, you still like this keyboard on the Lenovo. That's something they did not mess up, which is why I don't think they're going to mess up the Moto X.
I hope not.
Anyway, that was PCMag Live for today. We will be back tomorrow with an all-new show. Remember to leave us questions in the comments section on YouTube. Leave us questions on Facebook. Leave us questions on Twitter, and we will talk about them live on the show. Thanks
on Twitter?
On Twitter. Thanks for joining us.